Hey everybody, Jason Blaha here with Ice Cream Fitness. Today was a deload day for me at the gym, which I didn't have a scheduled deload, but I've been overdue for one, and I started noticing in the last couple days that even after 2 days off from training that I'm starting to get sore connective tissue, that my joints, particularly my elbows and knees, are starting to hurt. So I went ahead and I took a deload today. And I'm just going to briefly cover for you guys signs that you need to go ahead and take a deload and what the purpose and value of them is. But hold on, let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Here, let me give you guys a tricep shot also. Alright, on to the subject of deloads. If you guys have been watching my overtraining series, if you'll notice in part 3, which I'm going to go ahead and link right here for you, you'll note that I am an advocate of dual factor training theory, which means I advocate periods of overreaching and underreaching and the use of deloads. And the purpose of a deload versus actually time off is that it is a form of active recovery. It allows you to take time away from a training load that will impede recovery and put stress on connective tissue, joints, and things, while still giving you just enough stimulation to keep muscle protein synthesis elevated so that you don't regress like you would from a very short period of time of not training at all. And it allows you to continue to work those muscles, connective tissue, and such just enough to continue to get some blood flow and stimulation to them to help speed up recovery and to help maintain a bit of a central nervous system edge so that you don't lose performance as far as motor pathways go. So it's a really useful tool. And in my case today, I did a full body deload because, as a lot of you guys know, I do not do a split routine. I currently use full body Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next year I may switch over at some point for a while to a 4-day week upper lower split, but right now I personally prefer the full body 3 days a week, and it's not to say that for someone at my level that the full body is better. It's completely personal preference. I could make probably the exact same progress, the same strength gains, the same muscle mass doing the 4-day week upper lower. But I feel like that for me, it lets my body rest a little more to take the 4 days out of the gym. So I just squeeze everything into my 3 sessions. And for me, it works very well. And a lot of guys, once they get past a certain threshold, they prefer something like an upper lower or push pull 4 days a week. And that's perfectly fine. You have to experiment around with these things to find out what's optimal for you. And when dealing with something like that, there isn't necessarily a right or wrong way. So it is what it is. I'm going to show you guys really quickly what, for me, a deload workout looks like. Because for me, that's dealing with such light weights, it isn't a problem. You're doing a deload like that, you really shouldn't need much in the way of warm-up sets. Just do some foam rolling. And for me, I did that with just 1 minute rest between sets. I didn't get fatigued, nothing got worked, nothing got sore. I really didn't even get a pump out of it because, again, I'm working with relatively light weights for me there. And you'll notice that what I did, I just went through and I picked lifts that hit all of my major muscle groups, and obviously I did a little bit of arm work because for me arms are a weakness and I want to make sure that they get just a little bit of stimulation so that they don't actually regress over the weekend. And when doing deloads like this that you're doing that are not scheduled as part of a program that you're running, you have to really assess them individually. And for me, I did 1 deload session. I will take the weekend off from training, and then I will assess Monday how I feel. And if I have any joint stiffness or soreness, and I don't feel that I'm fully recovered, I will go ahead and do another deload session on Monday. But if I feel fine, I will go right back into heavy training on Monday. So you kind of have to play some of these by feel. And a lot of this doesn't really apply to you. I mean, if you're running a program written by somebody else, it's almost always going to have deloads and resets and things incorporated already if they know what they're doing. So for you, you don't really have to deal with this. But if you're kind of writing your own program and writing your own progression, it is important that you take deloads if you're pushing yourself hard. If you're going to use the overreaching, underreaching model to where you undulate your recovery and you push yourself beyond your limits for short periods of time with aggressive, progressive overload, you're going to have to take deloads at some point if you want to adapt and recover quickly, if you want to get bigger, if you want to get stronger. For me personally, the signs that I look for if I want to deload is, first of all, if I start getting muscle cramps with any degree of regularity after training, particularly if the next day, if I do a heavy session and the next day I'm getting any muscle cramps, for me that's a sign that I really need to consider a deload. Sore joints and sore connective tissue, for me personally, is really high on the list. As somebody who's torn a bicep before, you guys can see my surgical scar where they had to reattach it while doing is with the Hodge twins called back snaps. I was doing deadlifts. My work sets with around 600 pounds, and I snapped some shit up. I did that in 2004, and it's recovered quite a bit, but I'm always going to have issues there with my left bicep as a result of that. And so for me, I pay very close attention to my connective tissue, particularly when lifting heavy, and I recommend most people do the same. If you start getting sore tendons and sore joints, particularly if you haven't trained in a day, if you train like I did on a Wednesday, and Thursday night you still have sore joints and connective tissue, don't go in and lift heavy. Go ahead and take a deload. That's a sign that your body is telling you you need a deload. Because, as again, I cover in the overtraining series, muscle recovery has been massively overhyped and blown out of proportion by people who really don't know what they're talking about. But connective tissue recovery is a whole other matter. And what you will generally find is that your connective tissue recovery will limit you more than your muscle recovery, particularly when you've developed any sort of strength base. And what you will oftentimes find is that either one of two things will happen when connective tissue gets inflamed and strained. Either your nervous system will back down strength enough that you're not going to injure yourself, so you're going to lose performance, in which case you're not growing from the workouts anyways, and you need to deload and rest. Or it's not going to back it down enough, and you're going to continue to gain strength and be able to overstress that connective tissue to the point to where you rupture something or damage something. So that's something you really need to pay attention to. And the other big sign that I recommend looking for is that if you really start to notice several workouts in a row that your performance is declining, and your normal work sets that you normally wouldn't be hitting muscle failure with, you're actually hitting muscle failure before you should, and you start noticing this on multiple lifts over multiple sessions, that's absolutely a sign you need a deload. Go ahead and take one. Go ahead and take 2 or 3 sessions in a row where you massively reduce your weight, massively reduce your volume. You could even go as low as 40 to 50% of your 1 rep max on all of your sets. If you're doing 6 sets for a lift or 5 sets for a lift, cut it down to 2 or 3. And you'll note on mine that for me, I tend to do up to 10 sets of bench press or floor press every session, and for me I only did 3 sets on this deload. So for me, I dramatically scaled back volume, but I did increase reps a bit because, again, I just wanted to get a little blood flow going. But you want to keep everything on a deload nice and light. There's no point in ever going over 50% of your max on any lift on a deload, and don't do so many reps that you're getting anywhere near failure. You should be able to take short breaks on rest between sets, even as short as 1 minute, and crank out all reps without really getting fatigued or getting close to muscle failure. Alright guys, that's all I have to say on that today. I hope this has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.